Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaura Vani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare Neelachal Nivasaya Nitya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha. Hare Krishna. So today, second part of this discussion on Jagannath, Lord Jagannath and his divine abodes. So today specifically we are looking at Jagannath deity, Lord Jagannath in Gaudiya Siddhanta. It's significant that the first deities installed in ISKCON were Jagannath deities, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Maharani, and also how they appeared. One of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada just found one of the deities in a shop and brought it home, thinks it looks nice. What is it? Is it part of our philosophy, something from India? Then Prabhupada said, oh, there must have been some other deities, can you go and get them also? I don't know, she might have brought one of them, Baladev or Jagannath. So she went back and brought all three. Then Srila Prabhupada told Shyam Sundar Prabhu, his disciple, to carve the deities full size based on those models, that miniature models. So the deities were installed, and that was not the first. Prabhupada went on to install other Jagannath deities, and till now in ISKCON, especially in the West and in Africa also, as a fact, Jagannath deities are installed. And Srila Prabhupada explained why. Because Lord Jagannath is merciful. He overlooks many faults and allows and gives advancement, mercy, very simply. So that was explained by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, how and why he's so merciful. But let's look at Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In our line, Srila Prabhupada's guru is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's guru was Gaura Das Babaji, but he also considered Bhaktivinoda Thakur one of his gurus. He was his father also. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he used to say how all Vaishnava Sampradayas will merge into one Sampradaya. He would say that. He personally at one time was living in Jagannath Puri, later retired, was in Navadvip, but also lived in Jagannath Puri after retirement to do his bhajan. So when he was living in Jagannath Puri, he was working as a chief magistrate. He was in the highest position that any Indian under British government could get, any service. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, while working as a magistrate, he apparently became a Vaishnava. He's eternally a servant of Krishna, but as if he was a Shakta, then gradually came into Vaishnavism, and he wrote many books and explained many philosophical points. But what we understand is that one night, while he was in Jagannath Puri, working as a magistrate, Lord Jagannath came to him in a dream and said to him, I didn't bring you to Puri to execute legal matters, but to establish Vaishnava Siddhanta. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur responded, your teachings have been significantly depreciated, and I lack the power to restore them. After Srinivasa Acharya and Shyamananda, Rasikananda, that time there was a big preaching. After that, there was no big preaching happening on that scale in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and a lot of there was bhajan anandis in the Sampradaya, and not preaching was not happening on a large scale. This was all some plan. These are acharyas. There would have been a reason for that. So at the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, already so much, it had become so much covered up. The Vaishnava Siddhanta, Gaudiya Vaishnava line was covered, and there were many people, upper Sampradayas. There was a misunderstanding of the and misconstrued teachings. So even he himself had to struggle hard to get a pure copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So now at that stage he tried to do some preaching, but he found it difficult. Of course he could have delivered the whole universe, but that was the Leela. So then he told Lord Jagannath, much of my life has passed, I am otherwise engaged. So please send somebody from your personal staff so that I can start this movement. Prabhupada explained that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the grandfather of the Krishna consciousness movement. He decided, he began it, and then it went on, and it is what it is today. And we can say ISKCON is a manifestation of the will of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what he wanted. So then Lord Jagannath directed Bhaktivinoda Thakur to pray to the deity of Bimala Devi. He said that he wanted someone from the personal, he said, someone from your personal staff, told Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he told Lord Jagannath. So he said to pray to Bimala Devi. So then it's mentioned here, just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on the response to Sri Advaita Prabhu, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was sent by Lord Chaitanya to fulfill the prayers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's mentioned here that his Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's great-grandfather, which means Bhaktivinoda Thakur's grandfather, on his deathbed had predicted an extraordinary sadhu who would take birth in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. So what is significant is that personality of Bhaktivinoda Thakur was residing in Jagannath Puri, and he is the grandfather of our movement, Krishna consciousness movement. In its form it is now, widely distributing mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu internationally in all countries without any of the restrictions that were there in Orthodox Hindu society, which would not have, this movement would not have started at all. It could not. That was, of course, credit to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, how he removed a lot of this idea of caste Goswamis and established this principle of varna by guna, karma, which is what it should be. So now Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is also a significant acharya in Gaudiya Parampara, because Prabhupada would say, for us Srila Prabhupada is acharya, but Prabhupada would say his guru, this is his mercy, this movement is his mercy. And it was his will, of course his will, because he was ordered by his Shiksha Guru, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but it was will of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to manifest what in the form of ISKCON now, and he appeared in Jagannath Puri. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was there personally. Jagannath Puri met him, Lord Jagannath came in the dream of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and told them, spread this movement. So then he said that I'm not able to send someone from your personal staff. So we can say that Lord Jagannath, it was his desire all this is happening. He initiated it, and it's Lord Jagannath's mercy. Everything came through Bhaktivinoda Thakur, then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he appeared in Jagannath Puri himself, and in his appearance he was called Bimala Prasad. He was called Bimala Prasad because Bhaktivinoda Thakur was ordered by Lord Jagannath to pray to Bimala Devi for someone from the personal staff to help Bhaktivinoda Thakur spread this movement. So when he appeared, he was considered the mercy of Bimala Devi. He was called Bimala Prasad. So now, his appearance, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is so important in our movement of Gaudiya Sampradaya, we are looking at the connection with Puri, Jagannath Puri, and Lord Jagannath in our movement. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who laid the foundation for our Krishna consciousness movement, and who from his pranam mantra, 4 mantras are there in his pranam mantra, we can understand from that how he played such an important part in establishing this movement and as well as removing all the obstacles. So let's look at his pranam mantra. It says here that he is a deliverer of the science of Krishna. He is the giver of Rupa Goswami's treasure of bhakti, which is replete with the divine love of Radha and Krishna. He is the manifestation of Lord Chaitanya's words, savior of the fallen, remover of darkness. So this is the pranam mantra of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, shows that he laid the foundation very strongly. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared in Jagannath Puri, where he could have appeared anyway, but nothing is by accident. That Bhaktivinoda Thakur was in Jagannath Puri, and Lord Jagannath personally, Lord of the universe, appeared in his dream and told Bhaktivinoda Thakur to spread the movement. Then he requested someone from his staff, and then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came. Bimala Prasad is nothing but Lord Jagannath's mercy coming through Bimala, as prasadam of Jagannath comes through us, after having been offered to Bimala Devi. So now when he appeared, there is a shlok in Padma Purana, and it said that this verse is very significant in connection with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Shri Brahma Rudra Sanaka Vaisnava Shiti Pavanaha Chatvaraste Kalau Bhavya Hi Utkale Purushottamat. Translation: in Kali Yuga, the 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, which are purifiers of the earth, will appear in Purushottam Kshetra in Utkal, Orissa. So in Jagannath Puri, the 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas will appear. This verse to me is a little bit esoteric and deep. I'll not pretend to understand it. But now, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, if you study his life, he established Gaudiya movement, and he, unlike previous acharyas, he put it in a form that it spread all over India, and he laid down the foundation for it to be spread all over the world. One of the things he did was to call acharyas from different Vaishnava Sampradayas, especially Madhva and Shri, and to come and live with him in his mutt. I think it was in Bagh Bazaar. They stayed 1 month each at different times. He studied their philosophy and wrote the books Gaudiya Vaishnavism and their Sampradaya, Madhva, and Gaudiya Vaishnavism and Sri Sampradaya. In that way, he showed how the conclusions were not so different, but of course we will say, and it's a fact that the darshan of Gaudiya Sampradaya is superior. In the spiritual evolution of darshans that we started, Kevala Advaita, then Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita, and Achintya Beda Beda Tattva, we can see that Achintya Beda Beda Tattva is the highest spiritual evolution of all the darshans. How it describes absolute truth and our relation to him and our duty to him, how we relate to the Supreme. So, although he made a comparison, he established that Gaudiya Sampradaya is superior. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that the 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas will merge into one. He said specifically, they will find their conclusions in Gaudiya Sampradaya. They are worshipping as they are, following their Sampradayic principles. But they will eventually find that their conclusions are here in Gaudiya Sampradaya and more. And so they will enter into this Sampradaya. So this verse is saying that the four Sampradayas will appear. So it's quoted here in this work, biographical work of his. So my understanding here is that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will be his principle, his will and his mercy. He initiated this conjunction of the Sampradayas. It will eventually happen. And the person to start that off appeared in Utkal, Purushottam, in Jagannath Puri. So this verse is significant. So one may say this verse that we are saying it's significant. That's our opinion. Is it? That it says here that the four Vaishnavas, the purifiers of this earth, in Kali Yuga, the four Vaishnava Sampradayas will appear in Jagannath Puri. But the Acharyas did not appear there. But who appeared? Bhaktisiddhanta. And it was his will that they'll merge. So that is referring to him. This verse in Padma Purana refers to Bhaktisiddhanta. And significant that it is in Jagannath Puri that he appeared, and then this verse is referring that personality will appear in Jagannath Puri. So elsewhere, if we look at a poem titled Ashtotara Shata Shri, 108 opulences of Srila Saraswati Thakur, which was compiled by Bhakti Kusuma Shramana Maharaj, who was formerly called Krishna Kanti Brahmachari. It was compiled after disappearance of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he mentioned 108 opulences, and number one he wrote, by appearing in Puri and permeating spiritual knowledge throughout the world, he fulfilled the Shastriya prediction, he utkale Purushottama. That verse, same verse, he's saying this. That was their view. Sometimes something won't make sense to us till after it happens. Not sometimes, mostly all the time, because Krishna's plan not to conceal it, or we don't have that realization. Srila Prabhupada appeared, Gaudiya Math they could not recognize. This is the personality sent by Krishna, sent by who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted. Later they realized. So here they are saying that he appeared in Puri, so he is the fulfiller of that Shastri prediction, that in Jagannath Puri, the purifier of this earth, the four Sampradayas will appear. So when we say Jagannath Puri is central to our philosophy, it's very understatement. I mentioned to one of a senior god brother of mine who knows Shastra that Jagannath Puri is one of the most important dhams in Gaudiya Sampradaya. He said it's not one, it is the dham. It is the dham. Of course, we worship Aradhya Bhagavan Rajesha Tanaya Tadhama Vrindavana. We are worshipping Vrindavan. In our Jayadvani, Vrindavan, Dham ki Jai, then Navadip Dham ki Jai, then Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai. But Jagannath Puri, it is Vrindavan. In the sense, if you see Jagannath Ashtakam opening verses, that sometimes Lord Jagannath plays his flute along the bank of the Yamuna. Kalindi, anyway, I don't know that word. But it's referring to Krishna in Vrindavan on Yamuna blowing his flute. Jagannath Puri is in the mood of Vrindavan. It's in the mood of Vrindavan. Although, if you look at strictly in Shastra, it is Kurukshetra. But Krishna remembering Vrindavan. But for us, it is more accessible than Vrindavan. For sadhak, for us, it is much more accessible to enter Vrindavan in this way, taking shelter of Jagannath, than to meditate on Vrindavan directly. Of course we do. Vrindavan is the topmost dham. We meditate. This is how Aradhya Bhagavan Rajesha Tanaya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that. But now we worship Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna, remembering his pastimes in Vrindavan. And now, actually, it's mentioned here. Why is it that the form of Lord Jagannath is more accessible to devotees, and in Gaudiya Sampradaya is in one way, it's our Vishaya Vigraha, object of worship. So here it's explained that the form of Lord Jagannath is Krishna feeling great separation from his devotees. It was manifested in Dwarka by Krishna, but that is the manifestation of the form. But the mood is the mood where Krishna came to Kurukshetra during the solar eclipse. At that time he came with all associates from Dwarka, but also associates from Vrindavan came. When he saw them and they saw him, immediately those remembrance of those past times and that relation, but they could not openly consort or express their feelings, because Krishna was a king from Dwarka. He was in a position. He could not do that. King doesn't do that. So, and they were also feeling this is Krishna, but it's in a different way, different form. And there's a verse spoken by Radharani when she saw him, which is considered central to Gaudiya Sampradaya, but I'm not going into that now. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is in mood of Radharani. So when he decided after sannyas I'll stay in Jagannath Puri, externally what was the reason? Yeah, his mother. She said that you took sannyas, okay, I'm really heartbroken, so I'll not be able to see you, but please reside in Jagannath Puri, because it's not far from here and many people from here go there and they come from there and I'll get news about you easily. He said okay. But also Jagannath, we say, is Krishna in Kurukshetra who wanted to come, who wanted to again associate with his Vrindavan devotees in Vrindavan Leela, but he could not. So that feeling of separation was so acute, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to Jagannath Puri is written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is like Radharani coming to Kurukshetra and seeing Krishna at that moment, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna in Radharani's mood. So where would he go otherwise? Vrindavan or Navadip? Jagannath Puri. Because in that place, that anyway, this is very deep topics, but that separation was feeling greater, and that separation ecstasy is more than when they're together. That feeling of separation, there is more spiritual feeling, bhav. Okay, so now we'll read one purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita, explaining this point, and Prabhupada refers to Lord Jagannath as Mahabhav Prakash, which is something like great manifestation of great ecstasy. Manifest Prakash, he's manifesting or showing a great ecstasy to his devotees because of that feeling of separation. So now, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, when there's a need of something, and there's a great need and someone supplies it, he becomes very dear. Example, someone has a great need of water and you give one bottle of water, he'll be very grateful. So Krishna, when he was in Kurukshetra feeling great separation from Radha and the other Vrindavan devotees, that was acute feeling, which is the mood of Jagannath deity. So anyone who comes to pray to Jagannath deity, especially in this mood of Gaudiya, this Vrindavan mood, or chant some prayers, chant Hare Krishna, he very much appreciates it as compared to Krishna. So there's a great appreciation, and therefore we say that Lord Jagannath is more merciful. He feels that transcendently very happy when someone approaches him in that mood, and so he reciprocates much more than Krishna, that form of Jagannath. Okay, so that was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's explanation when we say Jagannath is merciful. So now, I read one paragraph from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Srila Prabhupada attributes to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Anubhashya, his commentary on Chaitanya Charitamrita. In his Anubhashya, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur describes the ecstasy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as follows. After giving up the company of the gopis in Vrindavan, Sri Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, engaged in his pastimes at Dwarka. When Krishna went to Kurukshetra with his brother and sister and others from Dwarka, he again met the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalita, that is, Krishna himself assuming the part of Srimati Radharani. In order to understand Krishna, Lord Jagannath Dev is Krishna. Lord Jagannath Dev is Krishna, and Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Srimati Radharani. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's leading Lord Jagannath towards Gundicha temple in the Rath Yatra is corresponded to Srimati Radharani's leading Krishna towards Vrindavan. Sri Kshetra Jagannath Puri was taken as the kingdom of Dwarka, the place where Krishna enjoys supreme opulence. But he was being led by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan, the simple village where all inhabitants are filled with ecstatic love for Krishna. So here exactly, to understand Jagannath Puri, because we are saying Jagannath Puri is this, we are saying this is Lord Jagannath, but the Daitas, those who worship him, they have a different idea. They have a different understanding. This is a Gaudiya understanding, I hope you quote it. That it is mood of in Vrindavan, but it is in Dwarka. Or we say it is in Kurukshetra, but the mood is the Dwarka mood, opulence. So Sri Kshetra Jagannath Puri was taken as the kingdom of Dwarka, the place where Krishna enjoys supreme opulence. But when he was being led by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan, the simple village where all inhabitants are filled with ecstatic love for Krishna. Ecstatic love for Krishna. Sri Kshetra is a place of Aishwarya Leela, just as Vrindavan is the place of Madhurya Leela. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's following at the rear of the Rath indicated Lord Jagannath. Krishna was forgetting inhabitants of Vrindavan. This goes, some other point is here. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada established Jagannath deities, and he established Rath Yatra all over the world. Within a short time, Prabhupada spread the glories of Lord Jagannath and Jagannath Puri all over the world. And why such a close relation of our Sampradaya with Lord Jagannath? And that we mentioned this is because of this point, that the mood that Jagannath is worshipping, is feeling, that Jagannath mood, and the mood that his devotees in, is the Gaudiya mood. The Gaudiya mood is worshipping Krishna in the mood of the gopis when Krishna left to Mathura. That separation feeling, which is in the last verse of Shikshashtaka. Ashlisha vapadaratam vinashtumam adarshanan marmahatam karotava yatha tatha vidadhatu lampato matprananathas saivara napara. So whether you come before me or disappear from me, I will always remain your servant. That's to give a not very deep translation. I will always remain your maid servant, whether you come before me or you don't. And lampat is something like a lover who is not very faithful, something like that. Lampat. So that was the mood, that when Krishna left, how they were feeling. This is the Gaudiya mood, worshipping in that mood. That Krishna is not there, but they're meditating on him and the pastimes and that when he will come. And so that is the mood of worship of Jagannath. Lord Jagannath is feeling that, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being Radha was worshipping in that mood. So this is the topmost. So Mahaprabhu, after he took sannyas, he resided in Jagannath Puri. He went in ecstasy in his worship of bhajan, and he showed us how to worship. So again here there's a part explaining, this is the same thing. This verse is there which says Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Urgena Vakalpita. So Vrajavadu means the gopis, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself gave these principles. The highest worship is Aradhya Bhagavan Rajesha Tanaya, worshipping the son of the king of Vrindavan, Nanda Maharaj's son. Aradhya Bhagavan Rajesha Tanaya, Krishna, son of Nanda, and worshipping his dham, Vrindavan, Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Vakalpita. And the best way to worship Ramya Kachid, which is very pleasing to him, is worshipping Vrajavadu Vargena Vakalpita, in the mood of the gopis. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pamartha Mahan. The main text is Srimad Bhagavatam. The goal is prema, attaining love for Krishna. And Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Matamidam Tathadara Napara. This is the opinion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is nothing higher. It says Tatrardhara Napara. So now in the Sampradaya of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Sampradaya, from beginning there was close association with Jagannath Puri and Lord Jagannath. Mahaprabhu stayed there. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur was staying there, the grandfather of the Krishna consciousness movement. This Krishna conscious movement is the fulfillment of his desire. As a pure devotee, he desired. When will that day come when everyone will chant together Jaya Sachinandan? He said Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Sachinandan, Gaura Hari. When will people from Germany, Russia, he actually named these countries, come together and chant these names in Navadip? That happened. So ISKCON is the manifestation of the desire of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was in Jagannath Puri and who was told by Lord Jagannath to spread this movement. So it's a close association. Presently also, in this Gaudiya, our Sampradaya, there are many ISKCON temples which are containing Lord Jagannath. And within our calendar, Vaishnava calendar, so many of Lord Jagannath's main festival days are also there. Some we may not know and understand, but they are there. So many of them. If you read about the festivals of Lord Jagannath, they're based on the lunar calendar. So like Snan Yatra was recently, Anavasara now is going on, and then we'll have Rath Yatra, Hira Panchami. I think many people may not know what these are. These are all within Jagannath calendar. So they're part of our calendar. It's a very intimate mood. So as one of my senior godbrothers said, it is the dham, not one of the important dhams. This is the main. Within our calendar is the main festivals of Lord Jagannath, and our Rath Yatra is a big affair in ISKCON. It remains a big affair. Even Srila Prabhupada came within 11 years he spread this movement, circled the globe 14 times, and whatever he laid down was the key, the important things of this movement. Whatever one sannyasi in our movement said, that whatever Prabhupada wanted to do or he wanted to manifest in future, he said it from now. For example, so-called Ritvigvadis, they say that Prabhupada did not want that his disciples initiate, and that this movement should only, he should be the only guru who gives diksha. Some people say that in ISKCON. But whatever Prabhupada wanted to do, he said from day one. So from day when the beginning, 1966, there's evidence that Prabhupada was saying that you should all become gurus. You should all become gurus. I am initiating. One day you will initiate. He pointed at a small girl. She's a small girl. One day she'll have a baby. All of your disciples. One day you'll have disciples. Many quotes. And so whatever he wanted to do, from beginning he mentioned it, repeated it again. So it doesn't make sense at the last minute he changed his mind. It's not like that. So similarly, the Rath Yatra is something he established right in the 60s, right in the beginning. It is a major part of our movement. The festival of pulling cart of Jagannath from what signifies Dwarka or Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. And so Lord Jagannath is an important part of this Gaudiya Sampradaya. And visiting his dham, understanding his mood, reading about and knowing his festivals and worship is is central to our Gaudiya movement. We can look at this Jagannatha Ashtakam prayer, which was spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and author, they say Shankaracharya, and somewhere I saw Vallabhacharya, I'm not sure, but it was spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You can say it contains the summary description of Lord Jagannath's form, pastimes, worship, and everything to know about him. So let's look at the verse by verse. Ashtaka means 8. It's a 8 stanza prayer. Okay, text 1. Sometimes in great happiness, Lord Jagannath makes a loud concert with his flute in the groves on the banks of the Yamuna. He is like a bumblebee tasting the beautiful lotus-like faces of the cowherd damsels of Vraja, and great personalities such as Lakshmi, Shiva, Brahma, Indra, and Ganesh worship his lotus feet. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of my vision. So it's significant here that we are speaking about Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna in the mood of Vrindavan, but in Dwarka or in Kurukshetra. But when we speak about the Leela, everything is in Vrindavan mood. Okay. Text 2. In his left hand, Lord Jagannath holds a flute. On his head, he wears a peacock feather, and on his hips, he wears the fine yellow silken cloth. From the corners of his eyes, he bestows sidelong glances upon the loving devotees, and he always reveals himself through his pastimes in his divine abode of Vrindavan. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of my vision. Text 3. On the shore of the great ocean, within a large palace, atop the brilliant golden Neelachal hill, Lord Jagannath resides with his powerful brother Balabhadra and his sister Subhadra, who sits between them. Demigods and sages worship him, and the Upanishads there's a mistake here. I'll say text 3 again. On the shore of the great ocean, within a large palace, atop the brilliant gold and Neelachal hill, Lord Jagannath resides with his powerful brother Balabhadra and his sister Subhadra, who sits between them. May that Jagannath Swami, who bestows the opportunity for devotional service upon all godly souls, be the object of my vision. Text 4. Lord Jagannath is an ocean of mercy and as beautiful as a row of blackish rain clouds. He is the storehouse of bliss for Lakshmi and Saraswati, and his face resembles a spotless, full-blown lotus. The best of demigods and sages worship him, and the Upanishads sing his glories. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of my vision. Text 5. When Lord Jagannath moves along the road on his Rath Yatra car, at every step large assemblies of Brahmanas loudly chant prayers and sing songs for his pleasure. Hearing their hymns, Lord Jagannath becomes very favorably disposed toward them. He is the ocean of mercy and the true friend of all the worlds. May that Jagannath Swami, along with his consort Lakshmi, who was born from the ocean of nectar, be the object of my vision. Lord Jagannath, whose eyes resemble full-blown lotus petals, is the ornament on Lord Brahma's head. He resides in Neelachal hill with his lotus feet placed on the heads of Anantadev. Overwhelmed by the mellows of love, he joyfully embraces Srimati Radharani's body, which is like a cool pond. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of my vision. Text 7. I do not pray for a kingdom, nor do I pray for gold, rubies or wealth. I do not ask for a beautiful wife as desired by all men. I simply pray that Jagannath Swami, whose glories Lord Shiva always sings, may be the constant object of my vision. Text 8. O Lord of the demigods, please quickly remove this useless material existence I am undergoing. O Lord of the Yadus, please destroy this vast, shoreless ocean of sins. Alas, this is certain. Lord Jagannath bestows his lotus feet upon those who feel themselves fallen and have no shelter in this world but him. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of my vision. Text 9. The self-restrained virtuous soul who recites these 8 verses glorifying Lord Jagannath becomes cleansed of all sins and duly proceeds to Lord Vishnu's abode. Hare Krishna. Question? Yeah, question.
So, the Daitas, or decided the
Daitas, worshippers, the servants of Lord Jagannath. Yeah. Yes.
So, are they coming in some sampradaya, some
Yes.
offshoot of some sampradaya? Because their understanding is different from Gaudiya line.
Yes.
So, where is that coming from?
So, first of all, that whatever they are worshipping, the mood that was given by Lord Brahma, it is given even in Shri Purushottam Kshetra Mahatmyam, in Skanda Purana. But there only 16 forms of worship are given. Now there are so many. Over the years it was added on. So that is the principal mode of worship. Now regarding their philosophy and mood, that I can't answer. One thing I do know, however, is that before the Vaishnava Sampradayas came Shankara Sampradaya. Before that, all Buddhists were all over India. And the Vedic teaching appeared to be lost, Vedic teachings. So the Shankara Sampradaya has established a major center in Jagannath Puri. And so they had influence in the worship. And as far as I know, it is under their control right now. Is under their control, and so that is the influence, if you ask them. Yes, but whatever it is, they are servants of Lord Jagannath. They liberated the servants and very dear to Lord Jagannath, as we understand from the narration in Prapanamrita Sri Sampradaya, the narration that Ramanujacharya went there and tried to change something and Lord Jagannath forbade it. So, yes, their understanding is different. He saw that the standard of worship was not so strict in terms of strict agamas, shastras, cleanliness, purity, many other things. But they were, anyway, Lord Jagannath wanted to be worshipped in that mood. He was okay with it. So he then told Ramanujacharya that no, this is okay. These are my servants. This is the mood of their worship. They're very dear to me. Don't change it. So anyway, the point is that although it is different understanding, whatever it is dear to Lord Jagannath. But to answer your question, what was the influence? That was your question? What was the influence? Why are they different? Where are they getting it? So, as we said that the principle, it's now under Shankara Math, as far as you know, the running of the, not directly, indirectly. Bhaktivinoda Thakur at one time, it was under him. But the influence was from there. Okay. Any question? Okay.